Hey, what's up guys? Justin here and welcome to 65 Drums. Today I'm giving you my first impressions of the 2Box Drumit 5 Model 2, and also this is like a combo video because I'm giving you my first impressions on the 2Box drum triggers as well. I'm just gonna talk about them both because I use them both together in this really cool cocktail looking drum set with 1-ply mesh heads. Now this is the new and improved version of the original 2Box Drumit 5 module. The original version of that module is still out there, you can still buy it, and I think they recently did a firmware patch for it. So I like the fact that 2Box is actually still supporting their legacy drum modules even when they're not the main focus of the company anymore. So this is very similar to the 2Box Drumit 3 module. This module mainly has a couple of key upgrades, and it's going to be good for people that really want to import a lot of external samples inside of the drum module. I would say this drum module is aimed specifically at people who are advanced in the use of electronic drum modules. You know how all this stuff works. So let's jump over to the specs. Now the 2Box Drumit 3 and the Drumit 5 Model 2 are very similar. The things that are outlined in orange, those are the main differences between the drum modules. The 2Box Drumit 5 Model 2 has a few more buttons and stuff, the layout's slightly different, but essentially they're the same thing, except this one has more memory and more outputs and an SD card slot. They both have 15 inputs, they both support 3-zone snares and cymbals, they both work with whatever kind of company's drum pads you throw at them. They both come with a kit editor. The main differences are that the 2Box Drumit 5 Model 2 has 6 outputs versus 4 on the Drumit 3. This one has an SD card slot that supports up to 64 gigabytes versus no SD card slot on the Drumit 3. And this one comes with 32 gigabytes internal sound memory versus 4 gigabytes on the Drumit 3. So I would say the majority of people would be better served in buying the Drumit 3 module. But if you're an advanced user and you want those extra outputs, and you want more memory so you can import a ton of extra kits, this module might be the better one for you. The majority of people though would be better served with the Drumit 3. It's just those little key differences are what can determine which one of these you'd rather buy. So here are the main pros and cons of this drum module as I see them. The good stuff is that this works with any drum or any cymbal from any company. It's got universal compatibility. You can import multi-layered samples with a computer editor. The third thing that I really like is that it's got lots of outputs. A lot of drum modules, they just don't have enough direct outputs. This one does. I really enjoy that. Number 4, it's got lots of free samples on the website. I think a majority of those sounds are actually inside of this drum module though, from what they were telling me at the booth. The next thing that I really like about this module is that because 2Box supported the original version of the module for so long, they're probably going to do the same thing with this version as well. So even after you've had this for a few years, they're probably still going to have firmware updates. They're probably still going to be adding more sounds to the online store. They actually care about their products, which I very much appreciate. Now on the downsides, this shares a lot of the same weaknesses as the Drumit 3. This one still doesn't have any faders, it still has that very small screen, and also it doesn't have individual knobs for your headphone, your master out, and your line in. Those are all kind of big obvious things that are missing on a flagship drum module. So none of these things are deal breakers, but they're important to me, and the fact that this is their flagship drum module, I'm kind of missing those features. But of course, taking the pros and cons into consideration, this is still a good drum module. It's for people that want to plug in pads from multiple companies and they want to import whatever kind of sounds they want inside of the drum module. This is a very powerful box. I feel like the Drumit 3 is a better choice for most people unless you need that extra SD card slot, more room for more kits. It really just depends on how many files you want to import inside of the drum module. That's the main differentiation for me. And of course, it does have a couple of extra outputs as well. If you're thinking about importing multi-layered samples, your main choices out there are the Elisa Strike and the 2Box Drumit 5 and Drumit 3. That's what you're going to decide between. Alright, so let's move ahead to the drum triggers. These have been around for a while, but I haven't gotten a chance to play them until now, so they're new to me. These are the 2Box TrigIt. I feel like they could have named it something else, but the triggers themselves are actually really nice. They cost $45 for the snare and toms, and they cost $50 each for the kick drum trigger. And then a full set of them are about $200. So as you can see, I was playing on this cocktail kit right here, and I wasn't even using a kick drum trigger. They actually put a snare trigger upside down against that bottom head, and then there was a kick pedal, playing against that surface. Overall, it responded very well, especially because it was a 1-ply mesh head. That's a very challenging condition for a drum trigger to handle. 2-ply mesh heads, 3-ply mesh heads, those have better overall trigger accuracy. But even using a 1-ply mesh head, it responded fairly well. I like how they have a low profile. I like how they got that brushed metal look to them. I actually enjoyed using them. Now, of course, the caveat here is that I didn't do any of this setup myself. For all I know, he could have been working on the perfect trigger settings for a week straight. But just sitting down and using them with 1-ply mesh heads, they responded fairly accurately under challenging conditions. I think they're at a fair price for what they're offering. Hey, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. Have an amazing day. Write some comments below of what you thought, and I'll see you in a few.